Thank you, everyone. I'm going to lose my voice by the end of this, I think. But once again, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. I'm going to tell you my story to start off with. I've had chronic pain for 20 years, since a car accident. A 40-foot pine tree dropped on my car while I was driving along. Sort of squished me a little bit. But I'm still here, but I have chronic pain. And it's something that I've had to deal with for a long time. I've had a pile of different drugs that they've given me. I'm now on morphine, then I'm on Lyrica. That's the one that causes suicidal thoughts. Thanks for that, as if we're not depressed enough as it is. You give us a pharmaceutical drug that's going to make us want to kill ourselves. Really good. Yeah. And the fact that that's available and the government thinks that's acceptable is also a little bit skewed. So for 20 years, I put up with this pain. But 10 years ago, I was at my lowest. I wasn't smoking cannabis, I was just taking the pharmaceutical drugs. And I was slowly dying. I got down to 38 kilos. 38 kilos. My organs were about to shut down at any moment because the pain made it impossible for me to eat. I had no appetite, and every time I even thought about eating, I would vomit. And every time I had a pain attack, I would vomit. So everything that was going into my body was coming out just as quick. So I was dying. And then somebody said, you've got to use cannabis. And I did. And it stopped my nausea, it gave me an appetite back, it relieved the pain enough that I could breathe again, that I could just relax enough to be able to have a break and have a sleep and not have to be constantly worried about my pain. And all we're saying is that this should be available for everybody. The government has monopolised the situation, they've monopolised this whole industry. In 1937, I think it was, they prompted the government with the wheat industries and the oil industries and the cotton industries, all put pressure on the government to get rid of cannabis and hemp so that none of those things could be used. Did you know Henry Ford made the first car out of hemp? And it was made to run on hemp oil. But now it's used diesel, which the environment suffers for. Thank you. Stays in the planet for 10 years. So all we're saying is that the government has to start thinking clearly again. It's not about the pharmaceutical companies, it's not about the profit, and it's certainly not about any sort of political issue. All it is simple. We want this plant, this weed, to be able to be grown here in Australia. How simple is that?
I lost him for
and all we have to do is convince them that that's what we want. We're not going to stand here and say, oh, we want it, and sign petitions, oh, we want it. No, we're going to tell them we want it now.
We need it!
We need it. No more knocking around, you know, no more playing games, no more, oh yes, we need to discuss this, we need briefings, rah, rah, rah. They know just as much about the cannabis issue as we do. Or they could if they took 5 minutes to Google it. Sorry? I wouldn't be surprised if half of them do. But the thing is, we shouldn't be treated like criminals. We shouldn't be treated like we have to hide these things away. And certainly, the people that are wanting to give it to their children shouldn't have to worry that their kids are going to be taken away from them if they do use it.
Yeah.
To me, that's threats. You know, we're going to take your kids away if you save their lives. So you can have them and watch them die, but you can't save their lives because that's illegal. And you know what? That's stupid. And it's time we all stood up and said that. So thanks for coming today.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. And if we can get you all to sign the letters of will that are going around, we need every single person's signature on it. And we need people to come forward and offer to give their signatures. And we're going to go around, if we have to, door to door to every single suburb, every single town in this state until we get everybody's signatures. So thanks guys, it's people like you that are willing to stand up and come here today and not be afraid of what people are going to say, because now we're all targets, because now we've stood up and said, we like marijuana or we agree with it, the government are going to say, okay, well, we better raid your house then. So we all need to watch out, and that's not fair. We shouldn't be treated like criminals. So thank you for coming, because I know there are a lot of people that were too scared to. My doctor, even though he supports it, couldn't be here because of the way he would be treated by the rest of the community. My psychologist was the same. She's completely supportive, but couldn't be here because of how she would be treated. And that's not fair.
That's repression!
People should be able to show support for any cause they want without fear of being oppressed. And it's time we told them that. Because up until now, we've put up with it and we've let them get away with it, and the governments have done what they want. Not anymore, guys. It's time we told them what we want. They were elected to do the things we wanted, not to get in there and get their little pensions and go away on their little holidays and their fact-finding tours. Well, they can stick their fact-finding tours where the sun don't shine. Because we're tired of them spending our money on things like that when kids are dying. People are dying from cancer, all the time, and they don't need to. So, thank you for coming. If you need a little bit of education about cannabis and you don't know a little bit about it, we've got some information down here on the table that you're free to take and to explain all the different ways that it can be used. But I'd just like to explain quickly that cannabis has different compounds in it. THC is the one that gets you high and is the one that the community doesn't like. Even though we're allowed to get high from alcohol, it's not okay to get high from marijuana.
We're allowed to kill people on alcohol, but we're not allowed to save ourselves by smoking them in a green.
Exactly. Why are people allowed to drink alcohol legally, but people that use cannabis to save their lives aren't? It's just so ridiculous, and it just seems like it's so stupid that it's actually happening here in this age. I thought governments were supposed to take notice, but they don't. But anyway, the other compound, there are many other compounds, but one of them that we're talking about today as well is the CBD oil. And that's the one that helps children. And what we want people to understand is there is no THC in the CBD oil for children. So any children that are going to use this to help with their seizures will not get high. You're not getting your children stoned. You're saving their lives. And that's what we're trying to point out. Cannabis isn't just about THC. There are many other compounds in cannabis and they're all doing different things and they all help with different things. There are so many medical conditions and we have a list down over here and it will tell you exactly what all the compounds in cannabis does and what it helps with. So feel free to go over and pick one of those up. So that's what we're trying to change, is the stigma against marijuana. It's not the bad psychoactive drug that they're trying to make it sound. You don't go crazy. You don't go violent. You sit at home, you eat a bit of food, you munch out a little bit and you go to sleep. That's it. Yes! Marijuana, the gateway drug to the fridge. I love that. So thank you guys. Pass around the letter of will. Let's get your signatures. And thank you once again for coming here.
Thank you.
All right.